A little boy stood behind a school building, desperately wiping tears from his face before anyone could see him cry. Inside the brightly decorated classroom, children were laughing with their parents. Mothers held handmade cupcakes. Fathers carried cameras. Families sat together like a scene pulled from a perfect commercial. But outside, hidden behind a cold concrete wall, 9-year-old Kang Min-jae sat alone on the ground, hugging his knees so tightly his tiny fingers had turned white. His school uniform was neat. His shoes were polished. His backpack was designer. He looked like a child who had everything. But in that moment, he had absolutely nothing. Not a mother. Not a father. Not even someone willing to pretend. Earlier that morning, his teacher had smiled and asked, "Min-jae, your parent is still coming, right?" He had forced a nod, because lying was less humiliating than telling the truth. His father never came. Never to birthdays. Never to performances. Never to school events. Not even once. And today was family day. The one day every child dreaded missing. Min-jae bit his lip until it bled. Then he looked up, eyes swollen with tears, and whispered the sentence that would soon change all of their lives forever. "Can you come to my school? Pretend you're my mom?" But what happens next changes everything. If you love Korean billionaire romance and mafia love stories like this, subscribe now to @Physial_threads and turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. Across the wealthy district of Seoul stood the Kang estate. It wasn't a house. It was a fortress. Black gates. Armed guards. Luxury cars lined like obedient soldiers. Everything about it screamed power and fear. Inside that mansion lived Kang Min-jae, the only son of one of the most feared men in South Korea. Kang Do-hyun, a man whose name alone could make businessmen sweat and enemies disappear. To the public, he was a powerful CEO who owned hotels, real estate, shipping companies, and private investment firms. But behind closed doors, everyone knew the truth. Kang Do-hyun ruled an underground empire. Debt networks, political leverage, black market influence. He was not just rich. He was dangerous. Tall, sharp jawline, impenetrable gaze, perfect suits, cold voice. The kind of man who looked like he had never loved anything in his life. And perhaps he hadn't. At 38, Kang Do-hyun had become a legend in both business and crime. Feared by rivals, desired by women, emotionally unavailable to everyone, including his own son. Min-jae's mother had died when he was barely 2 years old. Or at least, that was what he had been told. No one ever spoke about her. Her photos were gone. Her belongings erased. Like she had never existed. And ever since then, the mansion had become less of a home and more of a museum of emotional neglect. Breakfast was silent. Dinner was separate. His father rarely looked at him longer than necessary. Most conversations were handled through staff. Did Min-jae finish tutoring? Is his schedule prepared? Has he completed piano practice? Not once. How was your day? Not once. Are you happy? Not once. Do you miss her too? Min-jae had learned early that his father provided everything money could buy, but absolutely nothing money couldn't. Meanwhile, just a short walk from Min-jae's elite private school, another life was unfolding. Far away from luxury. Far away from privilege. In a tiny café squeezed between a bookstore and flower shop, 24-year-old Amara worked double shifts 6 days a week. She was originally from Nigeria, having moved to Korea years earlier with dreams much bigger than her bank account. Life hadn't been kind. She studied Korean at night, worked mornings and evenings, sent money home whenever she could, shared a tiny rooftop apartment with peeling wallpaper and unreliable heating. But somehow she still smiled. Customers loved her warmth, her soft voice, her patience, her kindness. Even when exhausted, even when disrespected, even when lonely. She had large expressive eyes, natural elegance, and a quiet resilience that made people instinctively trust her. She was beautiful, not in the flashy, curated way Seoul worshipped, but in the rare way people remembered. And every afternoon, Min-jae secretly visited her cafe. At first, he only came for hot chocolate, then cookies, then nothing at all. He would sit quietly by the window, watching her work. Amara found him odd. Too quiet, too well-dressed, too sad, like a child carrying invisible grief too heavy for his small shoulders. One rainy afternoon, she finally asked, "Shouldn't you be home?" He stirred his drink without looking up. Home is boring. She laughed softly. That sounds like rich people problems. He looked at her then. Dead serious. I'd trade my room for your café. She blinked. There was something about the way he said it. Something unsettlingly sincere. But she didn't push. What she didn't know was, Min-jae had already made a decision. And that decision would soon backfire. On the morning of Family Day, Min-jae entered the café earlier than usual. He looked nervous, restless, his little hands trembling. Amara noticed immediately. What happened? He placed an envelope on the counter. Cash. A lot of it. Her eyes widened. What is this? He swallowed hard. Then asked, voice barely audible. Can you come to my school? Pretend you're my mom? Silence. For a second, Amara genuinely thought she had misheard him. What? Just for one day, he rushed. Only a few hours. No. Her answer was immediate. Firm. Absolutely not. His face fell instantly. Please. No, Min-jae. This is weird. This is dangerous. You shouldn't ask strangers things like this. His eyes began watering. He pushed the envelope closer. I'll pay more. That sentence broke her heart a little. Not because of the money, but because it meant this child had learned affection could be rented. Transactional. Negotiated. Purchased. Like everything else in his world. Amara pushed the envelope back. No. He stared at it, then nodded once. Quietly. And left. She assumed that was the end. It wasn't. An hour later, while taking out trash behind the cafe, Amara heard soft crying. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just the kind of crying people do when they've already accepted no one is coming. She followed the sound. And there he was. Behind the school building. Curled up. Crying alone. Still in uniform. Still waiting. Something inside her shattered. Because no child should look that abandoned. Not like this. Not on a day designed to celebrate family. Amara closed her eyes. Exhaled. Then walked toward him. Min-jae. He looked up, startled. She held out her hand. Come on. His eyes widened. You'll do it. She sighed. Just this once. The transformation on his face was immediate. Like someone had switched sunlight back on. He grabbed her hand, so tightly it almost hurt. Inside the classroom, heads turned. Teachers blinked. Students whispered. Parents stared. A wealthy Korean classroom was the last place anyone expected to see a humble African cafe worker walking and holding the hand of billionaire Heir Min-jae. But Min-jae stood taller than he ever had before. Proud. Radiant. Like he had finally won something. This is my mom, he announced. The lie was absurd. But the happiness on his face was devastatingly real. Amara played along awkwardly. She smiled. Bowed politely. Helped with activities. Min-jae clung to her side all day. He introduced her to everyone. Asked for photos. Laughed more than she had ever seen. For a few precious hours. He got to feel normal. Wanted. Chosen. Loved. But somewhere far away, danger was already approaching. That evening, security footage from Min-jae's school was sent to the Kong estate as part of private protection protocol. Routine review. One image made the head of security freeze. Min-jae. Holding hands with an unknown woman. Not staff. Not family. Not registered personnel. Within minutes, the footage was on Kong Do-hyun's desk. He watched silently. Once. Twice. 3 times. His expression unreadable. Who is she? His security chief lowered his head. We're investigating. Do-hyun's voice turned cold enough to freeze steel. Do it faster. His first assumption was obvious. Manipulation. A gold digger. An opportunist targeting his son. Someone trying to gain access. And if that was true, she had made the worst mistake of her life. Meanwhile, unaware of the storm forming, Amara finished her shift and returned home exhausted. She smiled to herself. At least the boy was happy. Just one harmless day. That's all. Or so she thought. The next afternoon, there was a knock at her apartment door. She opened it and nearly stopped breathing. Standing outside were 3 men in black suits. Behind them, a luxury black car. And leaning against it, impossibly tall and terrifyingly composed, was Kang Do-hyun, Min-jae's father. He looked even more intimidating in person. Tailored coat, dark eyes, aura of controlled violence. He stared at her like a puzzle he intended to solve. Or destroy. Miss Amara. Not a question. A statement. Her throat tightened. Yes. His gaze was sharp enough to cut. You need to explain why my son introduced you as his mother." Her heart dropped, and suddenly, everything became much more dangerous. Amara expected anger, threats, humiliation. Instead, Kang Do-hyun simply stared at her with quiet menace, which somehow felt worse. She explained everything. The request, the money, her refusal, the crying. She told him all of it. At first, his expression remained cold, unmoved, until she said one sentence. He wasn't trying to trick anyone. He just didn't want to be the only child without a parent. Silence. For the first time, something flickered across Do-hyun's face. Not anger, not suspicion, something much darker. Guilt. He looked away, jaw tightening, as if her words had struck somewhere deeply buried. Amara noticed, and suddenly understood. This wasn't a monster incapable of feeling. This was a man who had buried feelings so deeply he no longer knew how to reach it. But what she didn't know was, this conversation had already changed something inside him. That night, Do-hyun entered his son's room for the first time in months. Min-jae was pretending to sleep. Do-hyun knew. He sat at the edge of the bed awkwardly, like a man unfamiliar with tenderness. After a long silence, he asked quietly, "Did you really ask a stranger to pretend to be your mother?" Min-jae kept his eyes shut, but tears slipped down anyway. His tiny voice cracked. "You were busy." That was it. Not accusation, not anger, just painful honesty. You were busy. And somehow those 3 words hurt more than any bullet ever could. Do-hyun had faced betrayal, gang wars, assassination attempts. None of it compared to hearing his son explain abandonment like it was normal. That night, Kang Do-hyun didn't sleep. Meanwhile, Min-jae began secretly visiting Amara even more. Not because of the lie anymore, but because she made him feel safe, seen, warm. He helped wipe tables, did homework in her café, brought her childish drawings. Sometimes he simply sat near her while she worked. No agenda, just comfort. Amara tried creating boundaries. "Min-jae, you can't keep coming here every day." "Why?" "Because I'm not your mother." His answer was immediate. "I know." A pause. "Can't I still like you?" Her chest tightened. This child was dangerously easy to love. And that was exactly the problem. Because emotional attachment always comes with consequences, especially when billionaires and mafia families are involved. Soon, Do-hyun began watching from a distance. Literally. His car occasionally parked across from the cafe, observing, studying, trying to understand what his son saw in her. Amara noticed eventually, and confronted him. "You can stop lurking." He raised one eyebrow. "I wasn't lurking." She folded her arms. "In your world, maybe that's called something else." To her surprise, the corner of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Almost. That was the first crack. Small. Dangerous. But enough. Over the following weeks, something unexpected happened. Do-hyun started coming inside. At first for coffee. Then brief conversations. Then longer ones. He was awkward. Reserved. Suspicious by habit. But Amara was one of the few people visibly unimpressed by his power. She didn't flirt. Didn't fear him excessively. Didn't treat him like a walking bank account. She simply treated him like a difficult man who needed emotional rehabilitation. Which, frankly, was accurate. Their chemistry was subtle but undeniable. Sharp conversations. Long eye contact. Emotional tension. He found her honesty infuriating. And addictive. "You should smile more," she once told him. He stared. "Why?" "You look like you're planning someone's funeral." "I usually am." She blinked. Then laughed. Actually laughed. And against all odds. So did he. Barely. But enough. Meanwhile, danger was already approaching. Because not everyone in Do-hyun's world appreciated this emotional transformation. Especially his enemies. Word spread quickly. The feared Kang Do-hyun had developed an attachment. Not just his son. A woman. An outsider. A vulnerability. And vulnerabilities could be exploited. One evening, as Amara closed the cafe, a black van stopped nearby. Too fast. Too abrupt. Before she could react, a hand covered her mouth. She was dragged inside. Kidnapped. Everything happened in seconds. Her phone dropped to the pavement. Screen shattered. Inside the van, panic exploded through her body. She fought. Kicked. Bit someone hard enough to draw blood. But there were too many of them. Across town, Min-jae waited at the cafe. She never arrived. Minutes later, security alerts exploded across Do Hyun's network. Missing target. Possible abduction. He saw the broken phone. And something terrifying happened. The famously controlled Kang Do Hyun lost control. Completely. His voice turned lethal. Find her. No negotiation. No restraint. No mercy. Seoul's underground shifted overnight. Phones rang. Doors were kicked in. Warehouses searched. Men disappeared. Because when Kang Do Hyun wanted something found, entire cities became hunting grounds. And this time, it wasn't business. It was personal. Very personal. Min Jae overheard enough to understand. She's gone. Do Hyun knelt in front of him. Rare. Intentional. We'll bring her back. You promise? He held his son's gaze. And for once, meant every word. I promise. Hours later, intel arrived. Rival syndicate. Industrial dock warehouse. Do Hyun personally went. Not because he had to. Because he wanted to. Violence followed. Fast. Efficient. Brutal. The kind of violence that reminded everyone exactly why Kang Do Hyun was feared. But beneath all that brutality was one singular truth. He was not fighting for territory. Or pride. He was fighting for her. They found Amara tied to a chair. Bruised. Shaken. Alive. The moment their eyes met, relief crashed through both of them. Do Hyun rushed forward. Untied her himself. Hands unexpectedly gentle. You came. Her voice cracked. He looked almost offended. Of course I came. Such a simple sentence. But for a woman used to abandonment, it landed somewhere dangerously deep. Back at the estate, Min Jae ran into her arms crying. And in that moment, something irreversible happened. They stopped pretending. Not mother. Not stranger. Family. Messy. Unconventional. Incomplete. But real. Weeks later, after recovery and emotional fallout, Do Hyun stood beside Amara in the mansion garden. Quiet night. City lights distant. He looked uncharacteristically nervous, which was honestly impressive. I've negotiated billion-dollar deals more easily than this. She smiled softly. Then maybe stop negotiating. He exhaled, then said what had clearly been terrifying him. Stay. She blinked. With Min Jae. With me. There it was. Not polished. Not romanticized. Just honest. Rare honesty from a man who had weaponized emotional distance his entire life. Amara studied him carefully. This dangerous man. This broken father. This emotionally constipated billionaire mafia boss somehow asking for love like a beginner. And smiled. I was wondering how long it would take you. For the first time in what felt like years, Kang Do Hyun genuinely smiled. Not a smirk. Not amusement. A real smile. Warm. Human. And somewhere upstairs, Min Jae watched from the window with the biggest grin imaginable. Mission accomplished. Months later, family day returned. Same classroom. Same decorations. But this time, Min Jae didn't wait. He walked in confidently, holding both their hands. One side, Amara, the woman who showed him warmth. Other side, Kang Do Hyun, the father finally learning how to stay. No pretending. No lies. No rented affection. Just family. The kind built not by blood alone, but by choice. By healing. By second chances. By people brave enough to love beyond fear. And perhaps that was the lesson all along. Love doesn't always arrive the way we expect. Sometimes it enters disguised as inconvenience. As disruption. As a child asking a heartbreaking question outside a school building. Trust can heal trauma. Connection can soften even the coldest hearts. And family is not always who you're born with. Sometimes, family is who stays. Who chooses you. Who comes back. If you made it this far, let us know where you're watching from and comment your favorite moment below, like this video, and subscribe to _Threads for more emotional mafia love stories.